This is a how to take apart and clean a Nintendo 64 video. This video is meant to be educational and enjoyable if you like doing this kind of thing. I've already taken out the screws, as you can see here, because it was a long process of getting them out. It wasn't really necessarily all that difficult. It was more so of that one screw wouldn't get gripped, and took forever to get it out. Anyway, so to begin, we want to of course take out the screws. That's your first thing. There's one here, one here, one here, one here, and one here, and these are Nintendo proprietary screws. So you'll have to use a torx tool. You can find specific ones online that are designed to take apart game systems and controllers and game packs and cartridges and things, but I don't have the time or the money right now to spend on doing that, so I just had to use one of these makeshift. It doesn't fit exact, so you won't be able to fit exact with that, but you'll be able to at least be able to apply some pressure, and it should come out. Okay, to begin, after you take these screws out, you want to take these little foot pedals off. We will be cleaning those. I've already cleaned my system, so I will just be showing you the steps and explaining it. So you'll want to take that off. Second thing you're going to want to do is this right here, your memory or memory expansion, depending on if you ever got one. You want to take it out. Well, basically, you just force it out through using any kind of object that you really have. There is an official object to do so, but I lost mine a long time ago. Okay, now this is very simple. This slips straight off. No problems, no issues. Now this is where things get a little fun. This is the RF protection plating stuff, and there's a lot of it in there. Several pieces are all kind of put together, jumbled in there. So if you can see that and see all the screws that go with it. The screws are going to be the fun part. Now you're going to actually, I know this is going to be surprising, but you're going to want a larger screwdriver. You're going to want one about this big. And it's all because of how these screws work. They're not very narrow, they're very wide. So you're going to want a more wide screwdriver. So we're going to begin by taking out these four here. That's going to be our first project, okay? So first thing you want to do is you're going to want to apply some pressure, enough to get it out. And I suggest kind of keeping some of these screws separate, because they are kind of, a few of them are different, so you will want to keep them somewhat separated. Most of them are the same, but for the ones that are different, you want to make sure that you're able to remember where to put them. And I always do this by putting the screws that I got out of the bottom of the system and the screws that I get off this top plate all in this box right here, or all in this container. It makes it a little easier to keep up with those. Now these screws are going to also go in there because they're pretty easy to keep track of. So they are slightly. These two sets are different than the rest of these little screws, but you should still be able to remember about where they go. And you'll be surprised at how much dust you'll probably find on the inside of your system, especially in this area. There is actually quite a bit of dust that gets in there. Whoops. Okay. And remember that the gold screws that have the little notches on the end of them, or on the thing just below the head, go here. The black ones go right in there. If you notice the difference, the gold ones go there, and the black ones go there. Okay. Nope, wrong screwdriver. Okay, so we're going to slide this piece off first. It just directly slides out from under this piece. And we'll just kind of put it over here to the side. Next, you'll want to take this off. It's just a piece of the overall plating. I don't really think it does anything. It's just a piece of the protective RF plating. Okay, now we have 5 screws here we need to remove. We're going to remove those 5 next. Now these you want to kind of keep off separate. I am going to put them in this little case thing to keep track of them. They are different in length to the first set of screws we took out. So they can't really fit anywhere else. Now at this point, you should have all of these top screws out and the ones on the sides. That leaves these 2 on the plating, this one, those 2 small ones, and these 4 silver screws. So next, we're going to take out this one right here. We want to put it in there with those. Okay. From here, we're going to get these 4 silver screws. They hold your AV plug and your AC adapter, or DC, or whatever kind of adapter it is. Basically your power pack. And just lay those in front of the system. I believe they are all the same length, so it doesn't matter if you accept silver screws. There are lots of screws to Nintendo 64. Okay, next, you want to take these 2 parts off. All they are is connectors that basically act as a wall between the inside and the outside of the system. Or, well, I guess first we're going to have to take this out. So instead of taking these 2 out, first begin to take out these 2 screws. From here, you want to take these 2 small screws out. Now for this, you're going to need a more precision screwdriver, which luckily I have. They take a Phillips. If I can find one that fits. Okay, those are not working. Well, let's try. I don't think this one will work, but go ahead and try it. No, that will not work. Ah, there we go. It was just a matter of finding one that was wide enough. Now these are pretty long screws, but they're also very small. Well, thin, I guess I should say. From here, this will lift out, and this just came straight off. I guess that one doesn't come off. Okay, from here you've got all this plating. So from here you just kind of start peeling piece by piece off. As long as you remember this goes in the front, so we're going to place that. in front of the system down here. This goes directly with that, so we're going to place that in the same formation in front of us so that we don't lose the parts. And next we're just going to take off the RF plating, and there you go. There's your system. This right here is all the Nintendo 64 really boils down to. This. You can actually take this out and use it by itself and it would still work. Although I don't recommend doing it. You might actually jack up your system. So, don't do that. Okay, from here, we want to focus on cleaning. Cleaning is actually not all that difficult. What you want to do is, if you can get your hands on a makeup brush, such as this, from either a wife, a girlfriend, a mom, a friend who's a girl, anything like that, an aunt, a grandmother, go ahead and get your hands on one. Preferably for them to be clean. You don't want a used one. Preferably, hopefully, somebody has a spare clean one on hand. And just take and lightly go over the circuit board. It won't hurt it, doesn't build up any static or anything. And just kind of clean it off. Go over it a couple of times, you know. Do the same thing on the bottom. Okay, from here, you'll also want to get some air in a can. And blow some air in a can into this part, into these parts right here. That will help clean it out and get rid of a lot of dust buildup. You'll also want to do that for this and for the top. Okay, from here, what you want to do is make sure also to use this to dust this in here and make sure you get everything all cleaned out. If you need to, take a wet cloth and wipe out inside here very well, and then take some kind of a cloth to dry it with. You don't want any kind of moisture left in this. It will ruin your circuit board. So you also want to take, and you may want to clean these. I didn't the other day. I took it apart and cleaned. I didn't clean this, so I'm going to do that right now and just kind of demonstrate how you do it. You just kind of take and brush. These don't, the plating itself doesn't really get all that dirty. The board actually had a surprising amount of dust on the inside, even though it's encased. I was a little surprised. So once you have that done, you can just take and start trying to reassemble your plating, which isn't that difficult. You just want to take, dust every piece, just like this. You want to take your silvery piece. I guess they're all silvery. Make sure it fits snugly in there. Make sure everything fits together. Something you want to make sure that you do. Now, we'll take this little piece, put it back in here. It got a little bent. If it gets bent, that's okay. You can this is, I guess, aluminum. It's very pliable. just simply bend it a little bit and place it back on there. Now, you want to start reassembling the stuff. Want to make sure that you put the right screws in the right places. If you don't, it will be kind of hard to fix. So, first thing we're going to do is take these small ones, put them back into the memory expansion deck. Okay, apparently I have done something wrong here. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to make sure that you get everything put back together. Okay, I see the problem. You have to connect it inside here, and I wasn't doing that. Sometimes the simple mistakes we make and the things we learn. I kept wondering why it wasn't working. Now we know. And knowledge is power. Knowledge is half the battle, as G.I. Joe says. Okay. So assembly, the rest of the assembly will take place inside the system. I don't know why, but I didn't think of that. Make sure you get it tight. Next thing you want to do is take these screws, start putting them back in here. Also, you can take, I suggest taking, and you can wipe down these plates. They are, getting water on them won't hurt them at all. You may have to put some more pressure on the screws to get them to go in, but it's not that bad. Also, make sure that you put the right screws in the right place. Failing to do so can cause a little bit of a headache. Notice in the front you will have two holes. This is the one you put the screw in. This one is filled by a screw that goes through the bottom. So do this hole only. Okay, now you can take this. You can kind of slide this in a little bit. You have to get down here and do this. You may have to force it. That's okay. It won't hurt anything at all. Now we go ahead and start putting your silver screws back in. Remember, your silver screws go here and here. Make sure that you tighten all the screws very tightly. Go over them one last time to make sure you've got those tight in there. Okay, from here, we want to make sure that your pieces are lined up. We want to put the two golden long screws, the normal thickness but long screws, in the controller, or in the cartridge slot holding part. That will help if you can remember that they are gold, long, and normal thickness. And you can't use any of the other screws because they have to be a specific length. from here, you're going to simply take, you want to make sure first of all that all of your screws from here on are all tightly put in, because we're going to be covering this section up and it's going to be a lot harder to get to. All of them should be tight. If they aren't, please make sure they are. Take your top piece, just like this, and insert it just like this, and match the holes up. With the holes being matched, I would first start with the smaller screws that we took out to begin with, so that it will hold all of this in place while you work on it, so that these holes won't slip and slide. Make sure that they're in tightly. These can kind of be a little harder to get when they're on the side like this. What you can do, whoop, don't do that. Probably didn't hurt anything, but still don't want to drop anything on it. Learn from what I say, not from what I do. Well, in the cleaning video, learn from what I do, but just don't drop anything. Don't want to damage your system. Sometimes they'll go in a little crooked. If they go in a little crooked, just unscrew, line it back up, and try to go as vertical as possible. Make sure you tighten it as tight as you can possibly get it. So far you should have this. 4 screws there. Well, I'm trying to put the wrong screw in, aren't I? Didn't notice which screw I picked up. Always make sure you realize what screw you're picking up. Maybe that screw was just eager to get back into the system. It's a little side threaded. Make sure not to lose any of your screws if you can help it. don't want to lose any pieces. And if you have pieces left over, you did something wrong. From here, you should have it where these two square shaped sections of screws are fit in. Next, we're going to start putting all of this in. You want to also make sure that if you need to wipe anything else down in here, you need to do it now. If there's like any kind of dust on the top or in through here or something that you may have missed the first time through or that you may have not seen, go ahead and look for that part and that stuff now, because once we get this kind of ready to close up, it's pretty much going to be done. You want to take the screws that are just like these, the two that are like this, put one here and one here. From here, you should have all of the smaller regular screws put in. And that leaves these four little odd, well, two are black and two are odd gold screws. So you put the gold screws in, just like so. Whoop! Don't want to do that either. Don't get overzealous with it like I do. I'm a little bit impatient, so usually I'm a little rougher than probably people should be. But you'd be surprised at how much abuse older systems can take. Be a little surprised. In fact, if you've seen my PS3 cleaning video, you'll see that even those are actually a lot more durable than what Sony would have you believe. Okay, from here, we want to put these in. In there. And there. Make sure that every screw from here on is very tight. If it can be tightened up just a little bit more, go ahead and tighten it up a little bit more. So now we have the main part of it reassembled completely. So it only leaves the bottom, putting the bottom screws in. Now before you do this, I suggest cleaning anything in here that you want to clean. Take a toothbrush, get some alcohol on it, or some Windex. Get on a toothbrush and scrub it. It's not going to hurt it one bit. I took a toothbrush and scrubbed on a little bit. I couldn't get every little piece off, but I got quite a bit off. Okay, from here, you're going to want to make sure that you've cleaned up anything from here that you need to clean up. Go ahead and clean now. Such as stuff like this, anything at all. Okay, now you've got the inside of the inside of the top. This is actually a little bit more complex to clean, or at least it was for me. It's not hard. The process in and of itself is actually easy. It's the matter of getting into the grooves, particularly this part right here, this vent. I actually had a lot of caked on just junk in through here and then through here. I had some in through here a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. You want to take a toothbrush, get alcohol on it, or get Windex, either one, and just basically go over it like a banshee. Just scrub the crap out of it as hard as you can. Eventually, you'll get it looking pretty clean, and that's all you really need to do for that part. For the buttons, I suggest taking them out and cleaning under them and around them. What you want to do is, here's the power button and here's the reset. Notice the tabs here. You push on the tabs and push up and out. Just take a toothbrush with some kind of cleaning substance such as alcohol or like I said, Windex. That will work fine. And you'll want to also scrub in there real well. Get some of that junk out, because this does get incredibly dirty. If you haven't noticed it when you flip on your system or when you flip it on and off, once you take the button out, you will notice that. The power button, slips in just as easily as it slipped out. You just take and push back in. Same thing with the reset button. You just take and push on those tabs and pull out. You also want to clean around it, clean around the sides, clean the front, and scrub in there a little bit. I didn't scrub it super clean. I just kind of went over it a couple of times. And like I said, that goes in pretty easily too. Just as easily as it went out, it goes back in. You can take this part off to clean it separate, but I don't really see a need in doing so. I think that's kind of just a little extra step that's not really necessary. If you want to take a brush, like I said, use a makeup brush or any kind of other brush, as long as it's not like too hard, then you'll be fine. Just kind of dust it out again. Do all that kind of stuff. Then what you're going to want to do, and I actually didn't do this before, but I'm going to do it now. You want to take some kind of a credit card or Subway card like this is, or any kind of other card that you want to get. And you actually want to be able to put a little bit of Windex on it. You can put other substances on it, probably, like I don't even think we even have Windex. So I'm not going to do this stuff right now, but I'm going to show you how to do it. You want to take and get some kind of a very thin cloth. I suggest getting a handkerchief. That's what I'm going to use. Take and basically just put that on there, and then just in and out of the slot. It'll work really well. It's to clean the contacts in there. It's not going to hurt anything at all. I've seen it done on other videos on YouTube and everything, and everybody says it works just fine, that there's no danger in using it. So I suggest using it to just kind of keep it clean. at this point, you're pretty much done cleaning your system. The only thing left is to put the top back on and all of that kind of thing, but that's not really all that difficult. I'm not going to take the time to put all of the screws in the bottom, but I'll let you do that on your own. It's really not that complicated. All the screws are the same size and length. You will need a torque screwdriver thing like about this size. It's not, you don't want it too thick, but you don't want it too thin either. You want it to be able to fit in, really nicely. If you have a hard time getting at one of the screws, there's a couple of, there's one or two in there that may be kind of a little more difficult. If you can fit a screwdriver like this in there, get a bit that is a, I don't know exactly what this is called, but it's a type of security torque bit thing. So it's number 6. If you're wondering. And what it will do basically is grab onto the side of the screw like this as you turn it. It won't be wide enough to actually fit over top of the screw, but it'll fit, and it'll fit on the sides, and then you can just kind of turn it. It'll be a little awkward feeling to you, but it'll work. I suggest always close up the system. Like that. Okay. So basically, if you do that, you're good to go. You will want to take your memory expansion. You want to take your memory expansion, place it in, like so. Take your cover, place it on. You may want to scrub this. It's not going to hurt anything if you do or you don't. It's just an extra cleaning step. And then take your footies. You can take and just dust around them, just around there. Put them on and drop your screws into place. Like that, and you're good to go. Just use a screwdriver like this, fit in there, and turn. And you'll get it in. Okay, well, that's the end of the video, and I hope you found it enjoyable. I hope that you found it informational, and I hope that it helps you to clean your system and to have a good, long, healthy system. Okay, well, thanks. Bye.